Welcome back to Eat Sleep Boxing Repeats YouTube channel. We are reacting to the exciting announcement of Tyson Fury fighting Derek Chisora for the third time in December. Delighted to be joined by Elliot Grigg as always. There's just going to be a short video of our immediate thoughts. I'm sure we'll be making some sort of content in the next few weeks regarding the fight. But yeah, Elliot, not the fight most people wanted, but it's happening nonetheless, and here we are talking about it. What are your initial thoughts to this being announced?
My initial thoughts: I don't want this. I don't think anyone wants it. I haven't seen any one person say they want it, apart from there's a guy on Twitter that I'm not going to even give him, give him his handle here, but he seems to go very hard for Fury, and even he can't make an argument for this. I just think there's nothing in this. Even I've heard people say, like Fury needs a tune-up fight before going into maybe like a Usyk or Joshua or whoever, sort of February, March, April time. But it's just like there's tune-up fights and then there's this. I mean, Chisora was struggling against Pulev, and Chisora was old, and I don't care what Frank Warren's saying about Chisora putting up more of a fight or being durable at that thing. He's just it's a nothing fight. It's nothing fight. And to be honest with you, I was actually debating. The question for me now is, will I actually watch this? And I'm not even sure I'll watch it. Genuinely, if the undercard's crap, I'm not even sure I'll watch it.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's disappointing, and I think everyone will be talking about what could have been. As we know, this is the third fight between Fury and Chisora. The first fight was back in 2011, so 11 years ago. That fight was, from what I remember, was a decent fight. However, the rematch, which I would say was 8 or 9 years ago, I've never seen such a one-sided main event. I think Fury won every second of every round, arguably. Would you agree with that? What are your kind of memories of the first two fights?
Yeah, I remember. I watched both the first two fights. I think like Chisora, obviously at that point when they fought the first time, was undefeated at that point as well. And I know it was like early on in his career, and it was still. I mean, it was close. It was closer, but it was still fairly wide for Fury. In a lot of circles. And you look at it at the second one. The second one was just, I mean, that was Fury that was Fury going. He went Klitschko, didn't he? 2 fights after that. So that was Fury kind of the first like rise of Fury, really, where he was just kind of not necessarily this concussive puncher that he's decided to turn into now, but was essentially just 12 rounds of pure domination. So yeah, I think I having seen that and having seen Chisora, the recent iterations of Chisora, he seems to like, as someone made the comment that he must be the boxer that's made the most money out of losing. And it's almost like that is almost like a fair point. I do like Chisora. I do like him, but I don't want to see him. Having seen the Parker fights that we had, and even the Pulev fight, which he got through somehow, I just don't want to see him fight Tyson Fury. I don't see anything other than it being, well, Fury will knock him out, essentially, if he wants to. If he wants to carry him the distance as a mark of respect, he could probably do that as well. But if he wants to knock him out at any point, he can. So I just feel like there's no intrigue in this fight. It's just a question of what does Fury want to do when he turns up? How's he going to take it on?
Yeah, it almost feels like some sort of exhibition or some sort of like potentially retirement party for Chisora. To be honest, it's very strange. It's kind of, I think it's just going to be quite a strange build up, and I'm not sure how BT Sport are going to like, because it's going to be pay-per-view as well, right? I'm not sure how we're going to say pay 25. It's probably going to be 25 quid. Like, I'm not sure how they're going to sell that to casual fans. I've not got much else to say, to be honest. Only other thing I'm going to say to you, just to comment on, is like Fury and Chisora's relationship I've always found very strange, because they had that kind of coming together at the Joe Joyce Joseph Parker fight at ringside, where they had it looked quite heated. They were also kind of drinking and smoking cigars together the day after Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte, after Chisora had predicted Whyte to win. How do you what do you think their relationship is like? Do you think that the beef is kind of fake and they're friends and they kind of text each other? Two kind of complex characters as well, two unpredictable characters as well. Let's not forget that. How do you think there's going to be much animosity in the build?
I think, in a weird way, I do think there's a mutual respect there, because I do think, as a purely entertainment perspective, I do think Chisora is obviously unhinged a bit, and I think Fury, in a way, would respect that. And I almost feel like as well, for what you say about Chisora, like who he's fought, the fights he's been in, he has shown himself, to use the Fury parlance, to be a real fighting man. And I think he will sort of just get in there and have a go, and you kind of respect that. I also feel that there's almost like that sense with Fury whereby he knows he's better than Chisora, so it's almost like a kind of like father-son, like kind of like paternal relationship where he just knows that he can kind of shout whatever he wants at him, because when it comes down to them fighting, he's going to chin him. So I don't feel like there's the beef really. I kind of see as being. I saw that one as being sort of fabricated and manufactured, the one after Parker and Joyce, to be perfectly honest. I preferred it when they were just having this sort of, the banter, the cigars, the cigarettes. When he was going around, wasn't he, like the barbecue after the fight in the summer and stuff. That was actually quite amusing. But I almost feel like this is a stage too far. Like if Fury was going right, Chisora can come into my training camp, whatever, we'll spar, whatever. Then he'll go into a fight, say, like before, like say pre-Pulev, he'll go into that fight. We'll train together. We'll do some content that way. I'd have been all for it. But actually, these two, this being Fury's opponent, it's outrageous, frankly. I mean, I know there's not a lot of names there, like you say, like Wilder's. He's fought Wilder. AJ's tied up, essentially, who doesn't necessarily want to fight him. Joyce was a potential not hard fight, potentially. Usyk's obviously tied up, understandably so. So there aren't the opponents out there, but still, even so, like just take someone who's kind of up and coming and knock them out, or at least do something like that rather than fight someone who, frankly, is, like you say, it's a retirement fight. And the last thing I will say on it, actually, the thing I will say on it, which is where the only intrigue actually is for me, is like you actually made the valid point that I hadn't necessarily thought about beforehand. If they are kind of good mates, they do have a relationship, and it is going to be Chisora's last fight, will Fury almost carry him to the distance so he can have that kind of celebration moment? Like, if that's something that I could see happening. But let's be honest, he's not going to outpoint him. So he could just take him, 120, 108, whatever, and let him sort of raise his hand at the end and say, like Warrior, etc. Out he goes, big audience sort of thing. I can see that happening. And I'd rather see that happening actually than Fury just beat up an old man, essentially.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's unpredictable here is like how's Fury going to win? And I agree with you. I can see that happening as well when Fury just kind of like first 6 rounds wins the first 6 rounds and then just like showboats and doesn't really do much for the last 6, and it's all just quite frustrating.
I actually can see that happening.
Yeah,
genuinely.
I can definitely see that happening because I feel like, look, part of me thinks that this was kind of like agreed a while ago that Fury was going to give Chisora another fight / another payday, and Chisora, if you're Chisora, you're going out on a big payday, and that's always been important to Chisora. Chisora, I think, has openly stated in the past he's not interested in winning world titles. He wants to get paid well, and to be fair, he's done that. He's been in several big fights in his career. He's been in pay-per-view fights. He's fought main events at the O2, blah blah blah. So if you're Chisora, I know yes, you are going to lose again, but if you've already got 12 losses on your record, what's another one? I think it's 12 anyway. So maybe this has just been agreed in the past, and then kind of here they are. But it's just very strange, and the idea they think people are going to buy the pay-per-view, go buy a ticket to watch it, and kind of get invested in the hype of Fight Week and things like that. It's very strange and very bizarre.
I'm interested. It's like you say, the circus outside of it is be more interesting than what's going to happen in the ring. How well it sells, how they try and promote it, what the general press conferences are like. Because the actual in-ring action, I don't think anyone's of a mind other than that Fury does what he wants. Frankly.
And like how motivated are both fighters going to be? I've got this image of like it's the weigh-in and both fighters turn up and it's neither looking in fantastic shape. Okay, we will see what happens in December. Elliot, thank you for joining me. As I said, we will be talking about this fight and the event it is as we get close to the date, but that is it for now. Tyson Fury versus Derek Chisora 3 in December. I'd usually say looking forward to it, not so much this time.
I think we'll leave it as pay for it if you want. And potentially, I don't know, I don't use them, but potentially other avenues to view are available. But thank you for joining us.